kick it. This is Patrick Moore with PopCultureKick.com, and I'm joined today by my friend Michael Carroll from ESPN. How you doing, Michael?
Good, Patrick. How are you?
Pretty good. Just enjoying my weekend. And we both got a chance to see Supergirl. You saw it Tuesday, right?
Right, right.
Right. And I saw it during lunchtime yesterday. And we both wanted to enjoy it, considering we both enjoyed James Gunn's Superman, the DCU relaunch from last summer. But it just wasn't as good. I mean, it wasn't a horrible film by any means, but it just felt derivative. Michael, how did you feel?
I think I'm a little bit higher on it than you are. I enjoyed it overall. I thought it was a fun experience when I went on Tuesday. It did enough for me in terms of action, in terms of comedy, especially the visuals, creature design. All of those elements worked really well for me. The music was good. It's just maybe some of the more key emotional moments didn't resonate as much as I thought they would. And even though that's the case, I would still like go out and watch this movie again because I think it's an enjoyable movie. I think some of the criticism has been a little bit too strong on it, but for the most part, I enjoyed it. It's not going to be one of the top tier superhero films of the year, but or that we've ever had, but I think it's fine as it is.
Yeah, I agree with you. The visuals were really strong. I
Mm-hmm.
even said in my review, I noticed, especially during the final battle, they really nailed CGI physics in the superhero genre, where sometimes enemies can feel weightless when the superhero powers up and starts tossing them around. They feel like Harry Potter when he's playing Quidditch or
Right.
the second half of the Matrix Reloaded Neo versus 100 Agent Smith's fight is just a bunch
Hmm.
of weightless CGI thrown around. But actually, I'm gonna go ahead and read my review of the movie if you don't mind.
Oh, go ahead.
After I gave it a 2.5 out of 5, which I think you gave it a 3.5.
Yeah, I landed on a 3.5 for
Yeah.
myself out of 5.
I said, after a stellar launch of James Gunn and Peter Safran's new DCU with last year's Superman, DC fans were looking forward to seeing what Kara Zor-El, Kal-El's alcoholic younger cousin, who showed up at the very end, was up to in her own corner of this new shared universe. Turns out it's pretty underwhelming. Directed by Craig Gillespie, Cruella, I, Tonya, Supergirl stars Millie Alcock as the eponymous Kryptonian as she drinks away the pain of losing her home planet and her parent, until Ruthie Mary Noel, played by Eve Ridley, knocks on the door of her spaceship trailer. And I thought that was cool that her spaceship's basically like a trailer you'd see in a trailer
Right,
park.
right.
And Ruthie seeks Kara's help finding Krim, leader of the ruthless brigands, and avenging the death of her family. Initially reluctant to aid the young girl in her quest, Kara changes her mind when Krim poisons her dog Crypto. Now she has only 72 hours to retrieve Krim's antidote until the playfully destructive pup's heart stops beating for good. The entire film feels like DC characters grafted onto one of Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy films. I tried to avoid the comparison, but the similarities are too abundant to ignore. There is even a Jimmy Eat World needle drop during the final battle, and an implication that Carl learned English via listening to pop songs on an iPod. Millie Alcock was a great choice for Kara. I have no criticism of her performance. And Jason Momoa as Lobo, no longer Aquaman as he was in the previous iteration of the DC Universe, further cementing that adaptation's demise, is also clearly having a blast. Momoa had long been rumored to be up for the role, and scenes featuring him as the immortal space mercenary are the most fun in the movie. I was very impressed with the visual effects in this movie and the fact that they really nailed physics. But with a forgettable villain and an underwhelming story, what Supergirl adds up to is a bland space adventure with uncomfortably familiar components. So yeah, I guess I came off pretty harsh in my review, but I was serious about it feeling like a Guardians of the Galaxy sequel with DC characters grafted on. But I know you don't feel the same way.
No, a buddy of mine would message me beforehand, like I think it was the day after I saw the movie, and he's not online as much in terms of like the film discussions and all that, but he messaged me saying something about, is this Guardians of the Galaxy 4? And I was like, no, 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 I like LOL, no, 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 this is not that. Because to me, it doesn't, let me think how to say it. Guardians has always been to me about a found family of misfits that come together, and Supergirl, which is adapting the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, has always been more of a Western true grit inspiration, where it is Ruthie, who's basically Maddie, going to Rooster Cogburn, basically Supergirl, and saying, "I need this help to find vengeance on my the death of my father." And in the book, it's her father. In the comic, or excuse me, in the comic, it is her father, but in the movie, of course, it's her whole family. And then it's about this journey that they go on in terms of, do you pursue vengeance? What the ramifications of everything that's being done by these people? It's more in that vein for me. I get like visually, like some of the alien stuff, and for sure. And, a lot of people have been comparing it to Mad Max for the villain aspect. And I get it aesthetics wise, but I also think a lot of people are using Guardians as a way to like throw at, oh, it's just Guardians. And it's like, no, it's not just Guardians. There is something different. Did it nail everything? No. But to me, it did enough with Kara's story where I was invested in it. Again, I think it's a film that it's an hour and 47 minutes. I wish there was like 10 more minutes to really help solidify some of those emotional beats, whether it is the stuff back on Krypton or the dealing with the brigands. Not that we need to fully understand what they're doing. We can kind of get the clues of what they've done and how horrible they are. But one of the key aspects in the book is you see Ruthie and Kara trailing the brigands and seeing their reign of destruction, as well as just some of the way things go in the galaxy. This one, because of the time constraint, which is fine, the 72 hours, you don't really get that same sense. And as they're going after the brigands, like they just kind of pop up, you know what I mean? Like they didn't really get the full weight of everything that's happened to them or everything that the brigands are doing. And that's where I'm like, I could have used a little bit more to establish those moments, especially with the couple, the bar owner couple. Like
Yeah.
some of that could have been fleshed out, because like that moment, it was like almost instantaneous. Oh yeah, they're gonna betray Kara and
Yeah.
Ruthie. Like there was no mystery behind it. So it's like things
Yeah.
like that. It's like, I wish it could have done more to build up some of those tension moments.
Once the husband brought out just one cup of tea for Kara, I was like, oh, he's selling her out. She shouldn't drink
Yeah.
that, he's
It,
drugging her.
even before that too, when he goes up to one of the aliens in the alleyway, it was like, oh, he's gonna betray her. Like I
Yeah.
wish they just didn't show that and just allowed them to explain their plight with the brigands, and like, oh, you feel for them, and then, oh snap, it's a betrayal. Something like that would have hit me, I think, a little bit more.
Yeah. But the brigands were just straight up human traffickers in this.
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
gross. And maybe
Hmm.
the additional 10 minutes you're asking for could have been spent on that. Like, if they're not going to portray the trail of destruction they leave, maybe solidify that these guys are straight up abducting young girls. I mean, they
Yeah.
go over it pretty clearly. They abduct young girls so they can
Hmm.
make more males, which is
Hmm.
really gross. But the movie is directed by Craig Gillespie, who has a history of making really good movies with strong female leads. Like I, Tanya, I think
Hmm.
is one of the best biographical movies I've seen. I know Margot Robbie got nominated for an Oscar, her first Oscar for that one. That one's really good.
Yeah,
So.
for sure.
Yeah, he was kind of the ideal person. It just didn't come together for me, but I can see the true grit inspiration you were talking about, with
Yeah.
Kara being Rooster Cogburn. I guess I would need to read Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow because I do like Tom King. So I did buy the first issue.
Hmm.
I just need to buy the trade paperback and read through it because I've read Mr. Miracle and
Hmm.
some of his Batman run. Tom King
Yeah.
is pretty good. I've met him in person actually in Dallas. He's a nice
Oh, that's
guy.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is very good. It's one of the better comic stories I've read. And I think that's another thing that some people have taken more issue with because it is a pretty emotional book. It goes into the brigands are different in how they're portrayed in the book. They're more just straight up murderers, genocidal murderers, and wiping out just people indiscriminately. And Kara and Ruthie on their journey see the devastation that they've left, and as they're going to try and find Krim of the Yellow Hills, like it's just the emotional weight is heavy, and I know that's been a frustration for comic readers in that Supergirl does not really. It's a very loose adaptation. Lobo is not in the book. He was slated to be in it, but they cut him. I think I forget what the reasoning why, but like Lobo's not in it. The As you mentioned, the brigands were trafficking in the movie. They don't do that in the book. Krim of the Yellow Hills is just a human. He's not this big alien force. They leveled up Krim to be able to go toe to toe with Supergirl in different moments and some of the story beats. This film is not as while it looks good visually, it's not as colorful as the comic run. The comic run is very like the art that Bill Keys Evely does is incredible, and
Yeah.
this one it's good, but I wouldn't call it on the same level, especially in terms of color
The
popping.
Brazilian artist you're talking about, Bill Keith.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she's the artist. I really gotta check it out because I remember really liking the art I've seen of that book.
And I know Nadia Martinez, the Gotham Geek Girl on social media. She has a good point about the adaptation, how it doesn't really adapt the book, and that's what hindered her. Part of what hindered her enjoyment of the film.
Well, I did enjoy Lobo. I mean, it did seem like Jason Momoa is having a blast.
Oh yeah.
He's long been rumored for that, and people were like, "How's he gonna do two DC roles?" Well, just reboot the entire universe and you'll see.
Exactly,
But
exactly.
for some reason, when he first appeared, he was giving me Bam Margera today vibes. Like
Oh
maybe
God.
it's because I saw Jackass the night before, but I was like, man, he looks like Bam Margera.
Yeah, it was a. I know who was it? I forget now what it was, but it was somebody else saying something about the look of the character. But yeah, the Lobo aspect I thought it was good. It was good in the sense that it was just enough for me. Like it didn't. I was worried that they were going to let him kind of dominate the story
Yeah,
possibly, but they saved him for when they needed him, and then they introduced him in solid moments that would make sense, and it would also make sense for that character to not really. I was wondering if it was just going to be like a team up in the end, and it was
yeah.
no, he's there and he kind of helps, but it's still
It's more for his
on,
own interests.
yeah, it's his own terms that he's doing it, and it's really Kara's save at the end of the day that really
Yeah.
pulls everything together in the end.
I'm like you. I thought they might overuse him and kind of spoil the movie for her, but
Hmm.
they let her shine. And I mean, it does have some pretty cool moments. I know they really adhere to the fact when she's on a planet with a red sun, she's
Yeah.
just like you and me, and except with good fight training. And then
Right,
on a
right.
yellow sun, she's like her cousin Clark. And then on a green sun, which I didn't know or remember she's poison.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's a big aspect in the book as well, where yeah, the different sons play into how she's feeling or what she can actually do. And I like that they still played with that aspect in
yeah,
the movie. I thought that was a good adaptation to it. And I liked how whenever they would show like sun category, red, green, yellow, whatever it was, a lot of the names of the planets or towns were the artists or people that worked on Supergirl. Because I think one of the last planet that they're on is named after Bill Keys, and the town that they're in is Evely, and like it's cool little homages to the comic.
yeah. Does Crypto get poisoned in the comic?
He gets hurt similar in a similar vein, but I don't know that he gets. I don't remember offhand if he gets poisoned or not, but he does get shot in a similar scenario as Crypto in this one. Although again, that him being human, He's just using a bow and arrow. It's not this mechanical poison gun, dart gun that he uses in the
Oh
movie.
yeah. Dang, a lot of dog violence. But I like that we got to see him as a puppy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was a pretty cool sequence. We learned why Supergirl is younger than her cousin and how she was able to grow up on the one kind of distilled city left from Krypton because of her father's force field. And it was
Hmm.
cool seeing her father played by David Krumholtz, who I last saw in Oppenheimer.
Hmm.
And it just goes to show you why that movie won an Oscar for makeup because he looked so old and big in that movie, and his hair was thinning. And then seeing him in this movie, I was like, did he age in reverse? I was like, oh no, he just didn't look that bad as he does in Oppenheimer. He looks,
Right.
just like a 45-year-old man. But yeah, that was cool. So that means Bradley Cooper and David Krumholtz are brothers in this universe.
Yeah, exactly. And it further confirmed what we were led to believe and rightfully believe that Kal-El's parents wanted him to be a conqueror of worlds. And
Oh
it's like,
yeah.
oh, okay, we're really leaning into that
Yeah.
aspect, which I think is fine. I like that it's a different interpretation. And I like that he was more supportive of her just trying to be a nice person, a good
Yeah.
person with that uses her powers for good rather than trying to conquer things.
Yeah, Clark's human parents from Kansas really rubbed off on him. It shows how important their
Hmm.
influence was on who he became. And that's one of my favorite parts of the movies. His Superman, Kal-El's appearances. I like what it added to both he and Kara's past. She
Hmm.
just appears in the cameo at the very end of Superman, but this gives us, one or two more scenes of how she arrives, on Earth and how Kal-El helps her by taking her to the Fortress of Solitude. And, at first she can't speak English, so he gives her an
Hmm.
iPod and she's listening to pop rock songs. That was the most Guardians of the Galaxy moment for me. But then
Hmm.
he kind of helps her because Earth has a yellow sun and she starts developing these superpowers. And I was really cool at the very end where, spoiler alert, she goes back to Metropolis to be with her cousin and help out because they know something's coming.
Right.
Or, just to be together,
Hmm.
after she finishes partying for her 23rd birthday with Ruthie, she goes back to, stay with Clark at his apartment. Because, and to me, that's he's in the Justice League because they already have the Justice Gang and Superman, and we know
Yeah.
that name's not going to stick. So now there's, one more metahuman on Earth that is a good guy. So
Hmm.
they're probably gonna, for Man of Tomorrow, finally reveal the Justice League. Now we just need a speedster or Batman.
Right. Yeah, we'll see where James Gunn is in terms of casting those characters. Yeah, I don't know that we'll get full on Justice League in the next one, but we will at least maybe get the implications that yeah, we probably need something more less corporate like Justice Gang and more just universally just trying to help people like the Justice League. So yeah, we may see the indications of that, but I'm excited. Yeah, that's the next time we're going to see her is in Man of Tomorrow, and I think I haven't said it as yet, but I thought Millie Alcock was the standout here as well. I thought she did a phenomenal job. And while the emotional moments when I say they didn't resonate with me, specifically, usually if something resonates with me, I tear up. I'm a big old baby. I
You're,
cry.
you're
So
a sensitive
when
guy.
right, so when something hits me emotionally, like I'll get teary eyed, and I recognize the emotional moments. Like I thought her moment where she's screaming in space, I thought that was really powerful.
Mhm.
I don't think it was ever a failure of her acting to pull those emotional moments off. I think some of the moments she has with David Krumholtz as her father are good. I just wish there was a little bit more build up in some of those aspects that really make it hit me a little bit more than it necessarily did. But
Yeah.
she was awesome. I loved what she did with the character. She has great comedic timing. She did the action sequences very well. I mean, she just has this feel about her that makes her so unique compared to Dave and Corn Sweat Superman. And I love their back and forth, even though it was limited, it still works so well. And she's really like the engine that drives this movie along. She was a standout for me. I loved her in this
Oh yeah, she's really well cast.
for sure.
I think maybe
And
I need to watch the movie again. Maybe I liked it more than I thought I did.
well, and going back to what you said about Superman, I do think like I love David Gordon Sweat as well, and I think similar to Lobo. I think he was in it just enough as the little reminder that hey, you still have a home here, and even with everything that he's going through on Earth, I don't know the exact timeline. Well, I think I take that back. I know it's after the events of Superman, but we don't know the full extent of what he's going through. But for him to take the time to still reach out to Kara, it really shows that he is still thinking about her time and time again, and he really wants her to enjoy her time on Earth. Now that she doesn't have a home, she can finally build her home here.
Yeah.
Those bits really worked for me, and of course David Corn Sweat when he's saying all these things and he's like, "Shoot, you don't understand a word I'm saying." It's like little things
Yeah.
like that I really appreciated.
Yeah. That was good. And I like that, they have good chemistry
Hmm.
and it makes sense. There's some things that James Gunn stories do that they're trials that the characters have to go through that just makes sense for the character. Like her not speaking English and, that language barrier at the beginning of their relationship and her giving up drinking at the end. I thought that was good.
Yeah.
Stop just roaming around to Red Suns and getting messed up. You need to grow up. Even though 23 is really young to us now, sometimes that's when people reflect and start growing up.
I also took it as more of her just coping with the trauma rather than, just being a kid. Like I felt like it was just her way to forget about the pain and her coming to terms with it slowly over the course of the film, I think worked in the end. Of where she ends up going back to Clark and being like, yeah, I found home and I'm gonna chill out on my Red Sun visits now.
Yeah, that's good. No, I thought that was a good place for the character to go, home and be more useful on Earth than
Hmm.
spend time either drunk or hungover. But yeah, it's like the Rooster Cogburn parallel.
Hmm.
That's what he
Hmm.
was doing in True Grit.
Exactly.
So yeah, next up we got Man of Tomorrow, which comes out next summer. That's the direct sequel to Superman, and it'll feature Superman and Lex Luthor teaming up. And we've seen art that shows Lex in a suit that I think he's had a couple times in the comics.
Hmm.
And it kind of reminds me of the suit Batman wears in Dark Knight Returns when he and Superman kind of have that final fight in Frank
Hmm.
Miller's legendary run. Have you read The Dark Knight Returns?
I have I read that? I don't think I have, but I know I know the reference or I know the art to it.
Yeah. It's kind of what BBS was based on and The Dark Knight Rises. They were both kind
Hmm.
of they had shades of that.
Yeah.
But no, yeah,
The
that's
Lex Power Armor. Sorry to cut you off. Yeah, the Lex
fun.
Power Armor's it's been it's really cool how it looks, and they did release a photo of it as well, like in live action. It looks good. I'm excited to see how it comes out once it's in full motion. But yeah, it's a cool suit, and it's definitely putting him on the level of Superman.
Yeah. That'll be cool. I think Nicholas Holt as Lex he was terrific. He was a bona fide villain.
Oh, for sure, for sure, he's great. He was perfect as Lex.
Yeah. He's just so full of hate and
Yes,
yeah. I know I look
he's
forward to
he's
that.
he's more complex than Krim, which I was fine with. But yeah, he's got way more layers, which is it's a fun foil for Superman to deal with.
Yeah, and like I said, they have great chemistry, so I'm really looking forward to that. But then Millie, our Kara will be around probably to talk smack to Lex if he gets out of line. I
Yeah,
mean, is
and
she
no,
gonna be a main character?
I don't I don't know how much like I Man of Tomorrow feels like it's going to be Lex and Superman's story at the core of it. I guess it depends on how much they want to utilize. Like I don't think she'll be Lobo appearance amount. Like I feel like she'll be in it throughout. I don't know if it would be considered a side character or a main character, but I'm trying to think because I feel like it's going to come down to Lex and Superman teaming up to face off against Brainiac, and Brainiac's just going to be a problem for everybody. So
Yeah,
yeah, we'll see. I don't know, but I would imagine she's in it more than like what Clark was in this movie or what Lobo was in this movie.
Yeah. Oh, that I'm really looking forward to that. And
Oh,
you
and
know,
I do want to go back to one other thing. You mentioned about Craig Gillespie, but it was also Anna Noguera that wrote this story. So I just want to give full credit to both of them, and because going back to my friend earlier, he only thought it was James Gunn doing this movie, and was like, no, 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 no. The director is Craig Gillespie, the writer is Anna Noguera. He's the executive producer, I believe, and that's his main role. So he contributed, but like give Anna and Craig their
yeah.
flowers,
Oh
people, because
yeah.
there's some people that are conflating the movie as a James Gunn movie, and that's not the case. Like Craig's
Yeah.
name's on it, Anna's name's on it. Like give those people credit.
It does feel like Gunn's print is all over it, especially with the creature designs and some of the sense of humor, and definitely the music, the needle drops. But yeah, Anna Noguera did the screenplay, and she's working on a lot of upcoming DCU projects. Like, they're going to reboot Wonder Woman, and she's working on, they're doing a Teen Titans too, so a Teen Titans movie.
Yeah, yeah, she's got a lot of stuff in the works. I'm excited to see what she does next.
Yeah. Although, I gotta say, if we're being truthful, I felt like the screenplay was kind of just the screenplay and the story were the weaker parts of
Hmm.
this one. The acting, the visual effects were what stood out. But, I mean, looking back on the MCU, what was the second entry? Was that Incredible Hulk? I mean, I still haven't even seen that one with Ed Norton. Or,
Oh yeah,
or was it Iron Man 2? Was that because Iron Man 2 is nobody's favorite Iron Man movie. So,
it was Iron Man was 2008 and Incredible Hulk was 2008.
oh,
Incredible Hulk released like June, July of that year, later in the year, but still like that summer. But yeah, it was the second movie out of the MCU. And then
yeah.
Iron Man 2 came out in 2010.
So just because it's not met with universal acclaim doesn't mean the shared universe itself can't write itself. But I still have hope for the DCU.
No,
I'm really
yeah, I
wondering
think
what they're. Oh, sorry.
no, no, no. Go ahead, go ahead.
I'm really wondering what they're going to do with the DCU's version of Batman because that's still a key element. And I know they're keeping Robert Pattinson and Matt Reeves' Batman separate. So I'm wondering, that's such a key element of DC, the Trinity, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. So I've been
Yeah,
wondering.
yeah, same here. I'm wondering because obviously they do have Batman Brave and the Bold in the works, and I think it's Andy Muschietti tied to it, but there hasn't been any word in terms of script movement or anything like that. And with James Gunn, you have to have that before you can get any sort of green light on anything. Hence why Clayface is already coming out this year
Yeah.
because it had a screenplay, because it had that script ready to go, and it was good for James Gunn to green light James Gunn and Peter Safran. So yeah, it's I don't know if it's like a Andy Muschietti's busy sort of thing, or it's just they're still trying to work on the script, or what the case may be. But yeah, I hope we get our Batman sooner rather than later. I hope it's not a long, long wait for it because at the rate of Matt Reeves movies, I don't
Yeah.
it may take a while to get those finished.
Yeah. No, I read they're kind of pausing the Brave and the Bold because, he just started work on the Batman 2 and they want to give that its own taste and they don't want to cannibalize the box office, which makes sense. If they're gonna be bold and have two different live action Batmen, they're gonna have to space it out so they don't, first of all, confuse audiences and second of all, eat each other's box office.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. It's gonna be a while because Batman 2 is next year, and then if it's like 5 years from then for Batman 3, it's gonna be like
Yeah.
2032 or something. It's
Yeah.
gonna be a while, maybe. Well, we'll see.
But no, I did love the Batman.
Yeah, it's very good. I really enjoyed that movie too.
Did you watch The Penguin too?
Yeah, I did. I really love that show as well. That's what makes that whole universe so good with what Matt Reeves is doing is its dark and grittiness and with James Gunn's DCU, it's not going to be as nearly as dark or as gritty or as, just grimy as what I would think of with Matt Reeves as Batman. And Matt Reeves as Batman is of course a little bit, I mean, realistic in the sense that it's not like super powered aliens and stuff shooting and doing all this stuff. But I would imagine Batman Brave and the Bold is going to lean way more into the comics, just like Superman, just like Supergirl, just like what Lanterns is going to do later this year, what Peacemaker has done. They're going to lean heavily into the comics and what makes those comics unique. And so if the Robert Pattinson's Batman is in all black, I can't help but wonder if we're going to get the blue and gray version in James Gunn's universe, or
That's
maybe
exactly what
the.
I was gonna say. I was gonna say for Brave and the Bold, I hope they go with a suit that's more like maybe a brighter version of Ben Affleck's in BBS.
Mhm.
Because say what you will about BBS, that's still my favorite bat suit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
So maybe they go that route.
yeah, I hope they do just to differentiate. But you know who I read was this close to being cast as Batman in BBS before Ben Affleck got it? Josh Brolin.
Oh,
And
interesting.
yeah, and I can see him as that kind of aged, world-weary, war-torn Batman from the Dark Knight Returns era.
For sure.
That would have been sick to see, but that movie had its own problems. So I'm not trying to talk smack about it. But I'm trying to, enjoy what DC is doing now. Not that the DC EU wasn't completely devoid of enjoyable stuff. A lot of people like the first Wonder Woman, and I did not like the Flash. And that's
No,
it's gonna stink that the same director who did the Flash, which was just awful. He's the one who's gonna direct Brave and the Bold, and he also did the It movies, which
yeah.
started off okay, but It Chapter 2 just it was like a rated R Goosebumps. It was
I like chapter two, but no, I definitely didn't like it as much as chapter one, the first one. But I did really enjoy the series, and that's Andy Muschietti as well, and he did a really good job with the prequel series that's on HBO Max that came out. Was it this? I guess it was last year now. But Welcome to Derry is very good. I would recommend people check that one out.
Oh yeah, I need to check that out. I watched the first episode. There's no bigger Stephen King fan than me. I've grown up since I started reading novels outside of school assignments. It was always Stephen King. So
Hmm.
yeah, I really enjoy just his whole mythos. This week I read a short story from his short story collection Full Dark, No Stars, and it's based on BTK, that serial killer. And
Hmm.
it's a completely separate story, but it's based on that. It's 49-year-old wife who's had pretty much the perfect marriage. It's had ups and downs, but it's been great for the most part. She finds out her husband is a serial killer on the level of BTK. So,
Oh wow.
and that's done kind of in the only in the way only Stephen King can do. So I really liked it.
Hmm.
But yeah, I like anything Stephen King.
For sure. It's
Yeah,
he's
he's
a good
he's
writer.
made me want to be a novelist.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, I know you gotta leave. So, Michael, thank you for coming on and talking with me about Supergirl.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I'll probably give it another watch just because you liked it just fine, and I looking back, I was pretty harsh in my review, so maybe I was just in a bad mood. Or no, I was upset because I wasn't at the press screening with y'all.
There you go.
Somehow I didn't get an invite for this one, even though I got invited to Superman. So fingers crossed I get that Man of Tomorrow press invitation next summer.
For sure. Hopefully so. Yeah, looking forward to seeing what the DCU goes next. And of course, we got Lanterns this I think August. So we have not too long to wait for at least the next entry in terms of television. So
Yeah, in
it'll be
terms of
fun.
chapter one, Gods and Monsters, which is what they're calling
Hmm.
it, the first phase of the DCU. But yeah,
Yeah.
Lanterns and then Clayface, I think, in October.
Yeah, I believe so.
Well, all right, Michael, thanks for coming on, and we'll talk to you later.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me.
All right, thanks, bud.